There was a building right there in between those two. Gone. All this stuff completely broken and flooded through. All the way past these buildings, you can't really see. There is a, that's where the water line was, an extra probably 10 feet off the water. Past that, there's even more buildings that are just completely gone. And that's probably 6 feet of water at least right there. Deeper than that, probably.
What was there?
Thank you. This morning, millions of Americans in the southeast are still without power after Helene blew through the region. The storm is now being blamed for at least 116 deaths across half a dozen states, and that number is expected to rise.
Soon, President Biden will update the country on the federal government's response, with cleanup and recovery efforts now underway. Nicole Valdez is in Greensville, South Carolina, with more.
Historic flooding from Helene submerged parts of western North Carolina underwater over the weekend.
There was a whole house right there.
This Marshall, North Carolina woman says she fled after the waters reached waist deep.
I was grabbing stuff. I have my 3 dogs in the car, and my car was like almost underwater.
The state's governor says rescue efforts are ongoing and that food, water, and supplies are being airlifted to those stuck in the hardest hit areas.
Oh, God.
This video shows the moment a bridge in Tennessee collapsed into rushing floodwaters.
She was ready to sink.
On Tybee Island in Georgia, this man, who goes by Huck Finn, and his dog, Creedy, are hoping high tide carries them back out to sea after strong winds from Helene stranded their boat on the side of the highway.
I thought we were supposed to gonna die, so I had to cut anchor and it brought us here.
This morning in South Carolina, dozens are dead after Hurricane Helene pummeled the state. One couple dead after a tree fell on their car.
My cat is alive, my neighbors are alive, and we are helping each other.
Massive recovery efforts are also underway in Florida.
We want to be helpful to get this debris.
While touring the devastation, the state's governor warned his state is not out of the woods just yet, with 2 more months left until hurricane season ends.
Well, President Biden has declared a state of emergency for those southern states hardest hit by the storm.
There are hundreds of FEMA officials also on the ground in the southeast.
WRAL's Eric Miller is in Buncombe County and shows us the challenges facing rescue crews who are trying to get much needed supplies to residents.
Tonight, this section of Riverside Drive, like so many other roads in western North Carolina, is still blocked. Despite that, hundreds of thousands of pounds of aid are now making their way into the region. But getting it to the people who need it most through all of this debris isn't easy and is taking time. Mateo Aguazul is trying to pick up the pieces. If only there were pieces left.
Yeah, everything done. Everything done.
Aguazul lived at Wilson's RV park.
I don't see nothing.
When he got back after the flood, the park had been obliterated. Mobile homes and campers washed a quarter mile or more downstream, some left hanging from trees. Aguazul only able to find his thanks to a scrap of the logo.
Corn.
Now, he's one of thousands of North Carolinians still with no ready access to food or clean water.
At the direction of the president, he has asked me to make sure that we have every federal resource available to support the people of North Carolina.
During a press conference Monday, federal officials said hundreds of thousands of pounds of aid have made their way into the mountains by land and air. But getting it to people is a heavy lift.
I feel like it was a little bit slow, but I mean, it is a lot to try and organize.
Buncombe County established its first distribution centers Monday. Person County Sheriff's deputies, Buncombe officials, and volunteers all working hand in hand at one site at Sand Hill Elementary School.
We don't have water, but we're doing okay. We've got power and our house is safe. So, you know, it's kind of like it's our job to kind of step up and help our neighbors.
Hundreds of bottles of water and MREs all handed out, but all gone too quickly. Federal, state, and local agencies, including Buncombe County, say they plan to set up more aid stations in the coming days. Buncombe, in particular, says they're working on a mobile delivery system, trying to get aid to people who are either trapped at home or who might have had vehicles swept away in this flood. But right now, there's no word on when that service will be available. In Asheville, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Helene is now the second deadliest hurricane to hit the United States in the past 20 years. At least 166 fatalities across the southeast. Later today, President Biden will be in North Carolina to meet with some storm survivors as they try repairing their communities and getting back up on their feet. At least 57 of those who died are from Buncombe County, North Carolina. That's where Asheville is. People in some parts of the state are trapped in their neighborhoods. No cell service, no electricity, let alone, think about food and water necessities. News Nation's Mills Hayes joining us live near Asheville this morning. Mills, good morning to you. The president will take an aerial tour today. You had the rare exclusive chance to hop in a helicopter on a mission to take supplies to those who need it most.
Hey, good morning. That's right. Well, when that storm came through, it made the river behind me rise so high that floodwater rushed over the highway over there onto this business. It's now completely unrecognizable. But this is a scene that we have seen really all across western North Carolina, just widespread destruction. And we were able to get an aerial view of that destruction just yesterday. And that's the same view that President Biden will get later today.
Supplies needed throughout western North Carolina.
Well, this is the first shipments that we've been able to get here in the neighborhood.
And they're getting to cut off isolated areas by launching this helicopter from a local elementary school playground.
Black Mountain traffic, air to air, helicopter 499 Delta Alpha, vicinity of Harley-Davidson, moving back eastbound. Ironically enough, I was just up here in the summertime coming through this area. It was very beautiful.
Pilot Sam Slate has been dropping off water, diapers, and food for people who are cut off because of mudslides that wiped out entire roads.
What are you doing?
Lisa Ballneck says they know people who are still missing.
You go 5 minutes down the road and neighbors that you grew up with are gone. Their houses are gone. I don't know when life's going to get back to normal, but I'm thankful that we're okay and that our family's here together.
That's Swananona?
Yes, Swananona, yep. So it's pretty beat up pretty bad down there. We're on one frequency trying to talk to each other and stay out of each other's way. Yeah, it's kind of the wild, wild west out here.
Slate served in the military with a mutual friend of nonprofit United Cajun Navy, a group known for their response efforts following natural disasters.
Our teams reconvene here, and whenever we find a need, they're put out. People don't understand this is not a normal flood. You're talking about a mass of water that moved sand, mud, and wiped whole homes out.
Multiple power lines are out, which makes it difficult to communicate. And take a look at that sinkhole right there, about 15 feet deep. This kind of destruction really all around this area. And the cell service is so bad in this area that in order to communicate, these helicopters are doing it through radio, and they're not landing in normal landing spots because of this widespread destruction. They are landing in places like schoolyards and even Harley-Davidson yards. Marky?
Yeah, the United Cajun Navy always steps in for the places and the people who need it most. Mills, thank you so much for bringing it to us in that vantage point. Really neat to see. And to help those impacted by Hurricane Helene, scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you to newsnationnow.com, where you can find a list of resources for those who are in need today.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.